Here. Sorry, YouTube, you haven't missed much. I put a base layer on the hand. Yes, of course open. Stop streaming for 2 weeks, you forget to hit the record button, and things just fall apart. Yeah, I mean, that's what I enjoy most about those shows, too. It's the one part of the show that's not work for me. Okay, for a lot of people, Adepticon is vacation and stuff. For me, not so much. Am I painting the box art for that new Hera piece? What new Hera piece? Hi, Claptraps. Thanks for following. Yeah, I mean, it's exhausting no matter what, but all the prep leading up and having to assemble and prime a bunch of figures and everything. The one they showed today, you're going to have to do better than that. Describe it. Arnis? Again. I don't know the names of the figures I paint either. The Hera models that I paint are named Orc and Dwarf and Skeleton. Skeleton looking dude with 4 arms. Hi, Cujo. Skeleton looking dude with 4 arms. Nope, that wasn't me. Didn't they already show the box art for that? Is he the Egyptian guy? Didn't Jaime show the box art for that like last week? Jaime de Garnica. It keeps saying Arnis. Desert Judge Team. Yeah, that one's already been painted. That one was painted by Jaime. Jaime. With a chach. That Castilian chach. My name is Borja. I've been painting things, you know. I've got some stuff. I got some stuff in the pipe. You'll see some things. Got one for the upcoming Chimera. Upcoming Chimera Kickstarter. And I got some other stuff in the works. There's so many things you guys haven't seen that's like just off camera. It's just somewhere over there. All the spoilers. Matayan? That's what I'm going with. Welcome. Thanks for following. So many boxes. So many figures. Hi, Pock Dog. I'd have to count them. That's the answer. How many? Yes. And I'm not going to count them out loud because I'd have to like think what they are and blah, blah, blah. I got a fun one for the next stream though. Once this guy's done. I'll tease a little. Once this guy is finished, I'm going to paint a figure from Torbjorn Barone. Some of you at Adepticon may have seen it. It's a little bust. That's the next stream project. Hi, Dave. How's Indonesia? Hot? Is it nice and hot? Is it hot enough for you? Because it's hot here. Too hot. It's 80 outside today. I hate it. It's hell. Warhammer 3rd edition fantasy roleplay. I didn't even know that was a thing. But I'm not up on like really old GW stuff. Unless that's not old. As long as it's got an Auntie Anne's. You're either in a mall or an airport. Which I've been in some airports that are basically malls. I think it was Brussels. I think we were in Brussels airport, and that was like had like a shoe store and everything. Pretty much a Foot Locker in there. Oh, this is weird. I mean, it wasn't even that. It wasn't even like gift, you know? Like, yeah, every mall's got like the perfume place and crap, but like, this was like straight up just normal shopping mall type stuff. hate shopping malls. I hate shopping malls because I worked in one for multiple, for quite a long time. Yeah, I generally avoid them now. I'll just let Mr. Bezos buy another rocket. Dude, Dave & Buster's sucks. I don't want to go to a Dave & Buster's. I remember the good old arcades where you had Street Fighter and stuff in there. Where's all the good arcade games now? Now it's like play phone games. Play Doodle Jump. It's like, that's literally an app for my phone that you just put on a gigantic vertical television touchscreen. Hi, Dan Zeron. Ciao. Or you could play an old Guitar Hero in Dave & Buster's that hasn't been fixed in 10 years and kids have absolutely destroyed the buttons on, so you can't even actually play the game. Dude, I don't just want to. I need to put chicken on pizza. Actually, I don't really like chicken on pizza. That's not my thing. I'll put pineapple on pizza in a second. Some pineapple, some prosciutto, and some pancetta. This is good stuff, man. Them's good eats. Gross. Why would you do that? Why would you put any of those things? You put ketchup on pancakes. There's only one thing I put ketchup on, actually. I'm not a big ketchup guy. But some cold ketchup on some hot French fries, that's pretty good. That's good stuff. How do you guys feel about refrigerated versus unrefrigerated ketchup? Yo, I love pretzels. I had a big old Bavarian pretzel at dinner. It was delicious. It's not, I mean, like, unrefrigerated ketchup is not weird. Like, at any restaurant, you're basically going to get unrefrigerated ketchup. Unless they got, like, one of the little things that you, like, to get the ketchup out of. Okay, so you guys have never had ketchup packets in your life. Like, I'm the crazy person describing that eating room temperature ketchup is insane. Get out of here. Yeah, man, walk into the McDonald's and ask for the ketchup packets out of the fridge. Hi, Topulus. Thanks for the resub. 15 months. Crazy. I saw your Kingdom Death bust was featured in the last email. That's pretty cool. Which looks really good. Look real nice. Yeah, but y'all are talking to me like I'm crazy to think that you've ever eaten room temperature ketchup before. Like, every restaurant has a bottle of ketchup on the table that's room temperature. I understand at home, most people probably keep it in the fridge, and I definitely prefer cold ketchup. But anyways, I'm a mustard guy. Mustard on hamburgers, Dijon mustard on sandwiches. I mean, not that a lot of people put ketchup on sandwiches. I like mustard, brown mustard on a hot dog. Mustard is the condiment king. We don't have any Dutch people in here, do we? And their weird obsession with mayonnaise. Yeah, is German mayonnaise like government regulated? Does it have to be held to a specific mayonnaise standard? Also not a tartar sauce guy. Cocktail sauce, which I guess is technically part ketchup. It's just horseradish and ketchup. I do like cocktail sauce. Yeah, sriracha mayonnaise is fine. I can get down with that. There's a Wawa, you know, the gas station slash sandwich place, which sounds insane but is delicious. Does a roast beef sandwich with a horseradish mayonnaise on it. It's pretty good. Topic change. Are you going to paint the hair on the dwarf arms? With his beard volume? No, probably not. Because one, this arm gets completely covered, and this arm you're just kind of seeing a little bit of the elbow, and so no, probably not. Level of effort to payoff is not really there. Even that arm is like, you can't see it all. I'm 99% sure I've never had actual wasabi, and I've only ever had the like horseradish, the green dyed horseradish paste. One day in my life, I will go to a really fancy sushi restaurant that does fresh wasabi and everything. Dave, are you one of those weirdos? I don't think I've ever noticed. Are you one of those weirdos that gets like barbecue sauce for your chicken tenders? That's some basic ass shit right there. The correct answer is hot sauce or honey mustard. What, barbecue sauce on fries? Now you've gone too far. You can do ranch too, but I gotta have hot sauce also. Yeah, dude, honey mustard's where it's at. Hi, Vanessa. Hello. If you're joining the chat, welcome. We're just talking about condiments because I don't know. I don't even know how this came up. I'm good, thank you. How are you? How was your Adepticon? Sergio! Sergio! Vale. Oh. Somebody is going to translate that message. Topulus is the regular Batman of the group. I do speak Spanish, Dave, and I'm not going to translate that. Because it's more fun that way. Yeah, you're always trying to sleuth stuff out. Which Malero could he be talking about? It couldn't be that one. I do, Vanessa. All of them are uploaded to YouTube, so you can check. I'm the same thing on YouTube. Eric _Swinson. So I upload all the streams to there, so you can check out the old ones. The whole process for this guy is up there. I've also got the Spira Orcs on there, a Viking from Nordless Miniatures, and I did a Kingdom Death figure. But yeah, there's a... Oh, yeah. That one was a quick one. That was the very first one that I uploaded to YouTube. The Lucas Zaba Mushroom Man. Okay, now let's take some of this pink and some ultramarine blue, and we're going to mix those together to get this kind of slight purpley gray thing going on, lilac. Right? It's very subtle. It might actually be too light. So here we're going to, yeah, that's too light. Blue, pink, something like that. A little more blue. Well, paint the veins. Now I need to knock that back down. So grab some of this. Nope. Sergio es una coleccionista. Es un coleccionista in this case. It's one of those weird words that's ends in an A but is both male and female, depending. Es para una pieza especial para SMC. Es una escultura de Victor Aguilar. Sure, you caught some things in there. You heard some names. Yeah, that Victor guy, he's all right. He's all right. If you don't follow Victor, go give him a follow. Poor sculptors, they don't get enough credit. It's always about us painters. Alfonso said it best at Adepticon. If you want to become famous, you become a miniature painter. If you want to become rich, you learn to sculpt. Both are an exaggeration, but I get what he's getting at. The one Athami, yeah, I saw the breastplate, the non-metallic breastplate with the hand that's like holding something. I can't remember what it's holding. Looks impressive. Hugo Briones of Big Child. I don't see him do a lot of custom pieces. Dave loves Hugo. Ugo. You know, I don't know if I've ever painted a Hugo figure. Maybe I haven't, just haven't realized it. There's a few sculptors that I'm sure there's a few that I've never painted one of theirs. I've never painted a Pedro Fernandez yet. I hadn't painted a Lucas until recently. I don't think I've ever painted a Patrick Masson figure. I've painted on a Patrick Masson figure. Dave knows the deal with that I haven't painted one of his figures. There you go. The day Dave truly impresses me with one of his sculpts is the day that I will paint a Dave figure. I mean, I've liked ones he's done, don't get me wrong. And I think Dave's making fantastic progress. But it's got to wow me. I got to be like, damn, that's cool, and I need to paint it. Two? I've painted more than two. Some of them are not officially Warcraft. None of them are technically officially. I would say there are one, two, three, four. We'll say like the Joaquin bust I did of the orc, not technically Warcraft, right? But he's Warcraft. That orc is as Warcraft as you can get without being copyright infringement. Though technically it wouldn't be copyright infringement anyways, because you can't buy, well, you can buy the 32mm figure. but you can't buy the bust. So yeah, that character is basically a Warcraft figure. But it's not, because there's nothing explicitly Warcraft about it. Then I painted a blood elf. And I painted the red Blade Master, the Felorc Blade Master. And then Bane and Thrall. So we'll say 5. I have the Dwarf Hunter, I actually have the High Warlord Orc, and I have Rexar. Which Rexar is straight up copyright infringement, but good luck going after Freedom 3D, because he's in China, baby, and they do not care. See ya. Alright, I think the skin is basically done. I think I'm going to take a short smoke break, and then I will maybe paint the hammer or something. I need to clean up, actually, real quick. Where's my spectacles? I need my spectacles. I'm going to fix the fingernails. Yeah, it'll work. Okay. I'm a dwarf man. And then when I get back, I'll paint on something else. Maybe the headdress, maybe, I don't know, something. A thing. I'll paint a thing. The hammer, I guess. And then there's the backpack, and well, quite a bit of back, and then some satchels, and the crow, and the horns, and then the shield. But we'll probably do the shield next week. I'll do the freehand on the shield. Show some freehand. But, okay, I'll be back in a couple minutes. Some kind of browns and stuff. Orange brown. I don't know. Maybe not a whole lot of brown, or not a whole lot of orange. Let's just grab a random brown. Mahogany brown, sure, why not? Flat earth, why not? Wood grain, why not? Just random whatevers. The exact color is not super important. Just need something that we can work with. So that one's got a little more yellow in it. That's a little more neutral orangish brown. And we can use a little red and some of the skin tone also. La maleta? No. What's a mallet? La maleta is like a suitcase. There's a word for hammer. And it is, or mallet, and it's slipping my mind at the moment. But we'll start by getting the volume in, right? Up at the top. Martillo. The only thing I can think of in Spanish at the moment, because I've been playing Resident Evil, or I stopped to play Resident Evil 4 Remake recently, all I can hear in my head is, ahí va eso. Ahí va eso. They yell it at you so much. Un forastero. Ahí va eso. Yeah, anytime they throw anything at you, which is a lot, they yell, ahí va eso. Which I didn't understand. I mean, I know literally what the exact translation of what it means, but I was confused on why they kept saying it. So, if you directly translate that, ahí va eso, it means there goes that. But it would be like the equivalent of, in English, like throwing something at somebody and saying, take that. They also yell at you detrás de ti a lot. Just like behind you. So in the original, I don't know if you guys have played Resident Evil 4. If you've ever played the original Resident Evil 4, I was not really aware because I have a hard time distinguishing the different Spanish accents. But apparently in the original, they had much more of a Mexican accent, even though it's supposed to take place in northern Spain. Which, Sergio, it's nice to know, what your town is like. I'm joking, by the way. I'm sure your town is lovely and nothing like the horrible village in Resident Evil 4. But in the new one, now that I've been able to talk with now that I've been able to talk with a lot of Spanish friends, the new version is much closer to proper Castilian. I know they, just from experience, that they curse in a Spanish instead now, like Spain Spanish. They say things like, no me jodas, which they did not say before. Oh yeah, they dropped some hijo de putas in there too also. Hijo de puta. If you shoot them in the face, they'll say like, ¿Qué coño? Hi, Zambies. We're just talking about the proper cursing in RE4 remake. It's much more authentic now. Authentic Spain cursing instead of Mexican curse words. I think the guy who does the voice of Luis Serra is from Spain, actually. So they had someone on the voice cast that was there to be like, no, we wouldn't say that. We wouldn't say it that way. Yeah, I mean it's hard for a non-Spanish speaker to like hear the difference, but I can imagine it would be if I was from Spain and I was playing a game about like the New York Mafia and they were like calling people proper tossers and saying "in it, bruv," it would probably be pretty weird. It might ruin my immersion a little bit. The blue-green on his shirt is Samurai Green from Danilo Cartacci. This one. It's my teal. So Tenebrous. The Tenebrous teal, which is the best color. Where is my teal? There's my teal. Tenebrous teal and samurai green, and then I think it was sunny skin tone mixed in. Oh, it's 100% bias. No, I work with the Monument guys are great. I like Jason. Had a good chat with Jason at Adepticon, but I'm happy working with Chimera. So no, you won't be seeing any signature paints from me from Monument, but they do. They do indeed. I will tell you that I do not have any new colors in this Kickstarter. My phrasing there was intentional. This is one of my like favorite things to paint is like wood grain like this. It's so easy to get like a nice effect. You just paint lines. Just instead of blending, just paint lines and then build up the volume with the texture, and then we can blend it all together with a glaze at the end. It's gonna look so good. Yeah, but the thing about a chromatic black is you gotta you know, make your own chromatic black depending on which colors you're using on your figure, right? So like if I was to make a chromatic black on this guy, which I kind of have in parts, right? Some of these really dark areas are mixtures of orange and dark teal and Adrian Smith. Where do I know that name? Oh yeah. The French, he's a French artist. He does all the little like gnomes and stuff. Joaquin did one of them like in a sardine can. Does like, he's French, right? But he does like the gnomes, are they gnomes? I don't know. Gnomes slash leprechauns, stuff like that. He's a popular one. You see a lot of his stuff get sculpted in miniatures. Now here's the question. What's the scale on that? Hi Doug. When you're talking about a gnome in a sardine can, is that 1-to-1 scale at that point? I would say yes. It was like people kept asking, like, how big is the Space Marine you did for Golden Demon? It's like, well, technically it's 75mm scale. But it's also a Space Marine, so he's huge. And he's really like more like 90 millimeters or even slightly bigger than that. And it's big. It's a big figure. He's a big boy. Who has that figure now? I have that figure now. Right now, it is currently in my possession. However, it is sold and I need to send it to the collector. But it is still currently in my house. I don't paint a lot of stuff for me. Oh, no, I mean, it was sold before that was a commission. It sold before I even started painting it, right? It wasn't like I painted it and then sold it to someone. I was specifically commissioned to do that piece. Like the piece for next year is same guy. Most of my figures, I would say 95% of my figures already have a buyer before they're even painted. But you never know. Once in a while. Like this one, already sold. I will not be participating at Monty this year. In the competition. I will, however, have 2 pieces for SMC, including one for someone in the chat. I'm going to keep it secret though. Because I like to surprise people at shows. It's more exciting when you get to see a figure when the general audience gets to see the figure for the first time at a show. Especially if it's like a big special piece. I just think it's cooler. And I'm not going to say it improves your chances, but I think it improves your chances of doing well. There's something about the wow factor. But I don't know. Could be wrong. Hopefully, I mean, as a judge, you should be able to judge fairly, no matter if you've seen the figure or not before. But I still think on some subconscious level, like there's something to an unseen figure, something new. Keep it fresh. But hey, you know, if you don't care about that stuff and whatever, and you don't want to share all kinds of work in progresses of your showpieces, then that's up to you. You can do that if you want. Certainly nothing in the rules against it. I know some people, I know some guys like don't even like for the judges to know which piece is theirs. Like they specifically, I don't think that really matters. Most of us can like tell who a piece is by on site anyways. Like if you think I can't look at a piece and be like, yeah, that's painted by Albert, or that's painted by Sergio, or that's painted by whoever, you know? Oh, that's a land figure. Like, come on. I most definitely can. Hey, who painted the orc with all the cast shadows on it? I wonder. I was like, Kaha? You think Kaha's keeping her, Kaha's keeping her secret, you know? Like, no, you could instantly point out which figures are hers. But they're still like, wow, I've never seen that before. Like, I don't know, it takes something away from it. I feel like when you've seen it on social media or whatever for months leading up to the show. Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, I enjoy seeing figures in person. The best day at a competition is the night before the show, where you can like hang out and people take their figures out to look at in private, so you can like really get a good look at them before they're on a shelf and you can't pick them up. The show before the show. Trent and Andy were talking about stuff last night, this morning. Trent and Andy? Trent Dennison and Andy Wardle? Andy who? Andy Bucks. Ah, Buckley. Deno and Bucko. Australians. And their O's. Yeah, I think that's the big thing about like once you understand like the techniques and everything in painting is when you really start to develop your style and someone's work starts to become recognizable. Like that's when you're truly on your painting journey, you know, finding your own style. I had fun at Golden Demon going around. People were like, "Hey, you want to see my figure?" And I'd be like, "No, don't tell me which one's yours. I want to try and guess." Yeah, what would I order? Let's say I'm at a, I don't know, where did you wait tables? All right, let's say Let's say a deli. And I'm at a deli. What am I ordering? %, I'm getting a Reuben, dude. Reuben is the best. Reuben is the king of sandwiches. Don't you? Oh, gross. No, man. Gumbo? I could go for some gumbo. And then steak or quail? Yeah, that's probably pretty accurate. Quail would probably not be on my order. I don't think I'd do that. Steak? Probably a good chance. Stigma boy. But what kind of steak? Can you pick out what my favorite cut of steak is? That would be impressive. No, I never order a burger out. I will tell you, I refuse to order a hamburger at a restaurant because I 100% rather just have a hamburger at home on the grill. You'll never catch me ordering a hamburger off a menu. Charcoal grill, okay, is also a must. I'm with you, man. Never order a hamburger at a restaurant. The only time I'll ever eat a hamburger out is that if I'm like traveling and it's like I'm in an airport or something and there's like a smash burger or a like a Five Guys or whatever. What's the other one? Shake Shack. Yeah, that's the only time I'll order a hamburger. My favorite steak is a New York strip. It's my personal favorite cut. This might be a hot take, but I think ribeyes are too fatty. Dude, you worked at a fancy place. I don't even know if I would eat in the restaurant you worked in there. Actually, if you had scallops on the menu, that's probably what I would order. And that kind of place sounds like you probably have scallops on the menu. I'm a Chesapeake Bay boy. I gotta have my seafood. Chesapeake Bay blue crab. Some scallops. Dude, I met this guy one time. I'll never forget this dude. It was I was visiting a buddy back when we were both in college. I went to visit his college, and one of his frat bros was this like total frat bro. And we went out to a restaurant, and they had butterfly shrimp on the menu. And he's like, butterfly shrimp, what is that? What does that even mean? Like, what? Never heard of a butterfly shrimp before. I'm like, it's how they cut. It's how they cut and prepare them, dude. No, man, they're shrimp. They're shrimp that cocoon for 6 months. And, and then they emerge with beautiful wings. Gambas. Hey man, told you it's easy. You just paint lines. They don't even have to be straight. They don't have to be straight or just roughly in the same direction. You just, I mean, I'm more using just the texture of the lines, right? I'm painting smaller lines as I get into the light. because you get more texture in areas of light, right? You get more detail because the contrast within the woods, right? In areas of light, you're going to see more of the wood grain than you are in the shadows. And some of these bigger notches, right? Some of these large cracks. Let's assume that he, I don't know, put some kind of stain, or there's some kind of weathering from the mallet being old and used, that anywhere where it's been like chipped away or scratched, it's going to reveal some of that lighter wood inside. Similar to the way like a metal would age. Talk about woods, like a nice cherry starts to turn like real dark over time. Cherry starts as like a nice light kind of reddish wood, but then as it ages, it turns like really dark red. But if you like scratched it, it would reveal some of that more lighter wood inside. You guys want to talk about nice hardwoods, you know? What's your favorite furniture wood? If you say pine, I'm banning you from the chat. Pine is a garbage wood for furniture making and only for construction. Mahogany's not bad. Nice rich brown color. I'm not a big mahogany guy. Feels a little old-fashioned to me. So it's a little old-fashioned. Oak furniture? All right. Got a thicker, more pronounced grain. I like an American walnut for a dark wood. black walnut, super nice. Or you can go, if you prefer a light wood, some ash, which is not as common here, more common in like UK, Europe. Maple is definitely more common light wood here. Want to get crazy? You can go with some wingay. Yeah, dude, black walnut's class. Pure class. Oh, cedar's definitely outdoor. This is the reason they make boats and stuff out of it, right? Do a little cedar strip canoe. It weathers very well. Fine aromatic cedar. Whoa, fancy pants. You got some ebony furniture? Somebody's bowling. I don't know, where are you from, Minimancer? Upstate New York, probably Pine. More likely pine, because in the Northwest you would use Douglas fir. Where's Joe when you need him to be in here talking about woods? Dude, that's crazy. That's got to be like literally 10,000, like a whole dinner table made out of ebony, like the legs and everything. It's like $10,000 worth of ebony. That table must also weigh an insane amount. I don't joke when it comes to wood. I don't make it. It was serious business. Yeah, I've made some of my plinths I've turned out of ebony, and it's like comparing that. This is cherry. You see, you can kind of see the color difference from here to the side, just where it's like started to age over time. It gets kind of like this like deeper reddish color. I wonder if I could cut into it, you could see some of the lighter wood underneath. Check a chunk out of it. Yeah, there you go. See how much lighter it is underneath? Everyone, I'm sure, finds this very interesting. But yeah, this is cherry that I just had an offcut of, made into a little handle. But yeah, I've turned some plinths out of ebony, and it's like 3 times heavier than one of these guys. And African blackwood's also real nice. African, Brazilian, I can't remember. It was Brazilian rosewood, and I think it's African blackwood. To help you with your plinth decision making. Though I'm just actually kind of on the side of, I like a very plain plinth. I'm not a big fancy plinth guy. I don't want any curly maple or anything. Just distract from. It'll just distract from the figure. All right, let's throw some wood grain. Wood grain, literally wood grain. on it real quick. This is like a, if you've never used this, it's basically an ink. I'm pretty sure it's just an ink, but it's like a deep red. And I'm going to use that to add some extra shadow and depth. You could watch the difference, what happens when I glaze this over top. I don't want to like paint it over because I don't want to kill the effect, but watch just like when I just place that like okay. And then I can go a little thicker at the bottom. You see the difference between the two? This helps unify and bring back some of that color saturation. Basically treating it like you would put a real stain on wood, right? Don't want like a crazy thick layer to really alter the coloration, but enough to just kind of tie everything together and enrich those shadows and stuff. And then after, go back and add some final little scratches and nicks and highlights with the color we were using before. That'll help punch it up again. So wood grain, if you never used it, right? There's two. They're both that I use quite a bit for different things. So wood grain's also great for leather, but there's another one called smoke, which is more like a sepia color. That's also quite nice if you want a more yellowish tone. Both are great for leather and wood. It adds just a little bit of satin to it. It's not crazy, like it's not glossy, right? The one problem I have with like proper inks, like you know, like a Daleroni ink, something like this, but you know, like a sepia ink from them or something, is they can get a little too glossy for my taste, and then you have to knock them back with a matte varnish or whatever. These are already like, they're not matte, but they're also not super satin. They're like a nice middle ground. Get a real, so it gives you that, just that little bit of variation in the finish. Okay, something like that. Very lovely. And now I'm just going to place like a few little highlights around. Maybe some spots where his hammer got kind of dinged up on the end, you know. He's been bashing some skulls. There we go. Ta-da. Hammer. Wood grain hammer. Zoom and enhance. Easy peasy. Yeah, I'm going to paint the shield next week. I'm probably going to do, I mean, I've got time. I'm probably going to do like one more little element or something on him. Maybe I'll paint the crow or something. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to try and finish him next week. But I'm going to go smoke real quick. I'll be back in a few minutes. Want me to paint the, I could do the thing before I paint the, what's it called? His little headdress thing. I don't even know what you call it. Why don't we do that? We're gonna get some of that samurai green. All right. So before we do anything crazy on it, let's quickly just get some of the rough volumes in. Come on, teal. Just need a little bit. There we go. Okay. This doesn't have to be a perfect layer all blended, because we're going to have some fun. He's a dwarf. You can't not put a tartan on him somewhere. It's the rules. I didn't make them. The miniature police will come get you if you don't put a tartan on your dwarf. I'm of course kidding. You can do whatever you want. There are no rules. I just thought it could be fun to show. All right, so how do I go about doing this? So we basically have to paint a bunch of checkerboards. So we've got the cavalry brown that we've been using, right? And that can like function as our red. But we need a color for some squares. So what we're going to do, actually, so we've been using this a lot. I'm going to mix these two to make a dark turquoise that's not as like green as the what's it called? The really bright green. So I want something in between. I'm going to grab a little bit of the pink just to desaturate it a little to make it a little more grayish. Okay, something like this. And then we've got to look at these and figure out, all right, where are we going to put the squares and how big are they going to be? So I think what we can do, so we're going to paint a stripe. Right, like such. See that? It's going to be real subtle for now. Then where this separates, we can paint another one. So we're basically going to split these little panel things into thirds. And at first, this effect's going to be, like I said, pretty subtle. But then when we paint the other stripes on top, you'll see when we get to that. So every other one, we do the outside, leave part of the middle. Then we do the inside. This one gets all wonky, so I don't care. So I'm going to make this side match the other and start from the other way. Okay, so we paint a stripe like that. Then a stripe down that one. Like I said, splitting these into thirds. Create another stripe there, and then this one gets split in half. Right, now we're going to do the same thing with the other way. So I'm going to start here, create another square, and these are going to run horizontally along. Now the one thing to try and keep in mind is we want to try and make these consistent width. So whatever the thickness of this stripe is, we want the horizontal stripes to roughly be square with them. So here, make another square. And then at the top, make another square. All right, so now we're getting that kind of like picnic. Picnic blanket pattern. It's fine if it's not perfect at the moment because we're going to adjust the squares as so we move along. So right, square. Square, square, square. All right, so the way this works, the way tartans, or this style, right? So this style of stitching works is that you've got a darker thread and a lighter thread. And anywhere where these two dark threads cross over each other, right? And so if they're going this way, you get the dark threads, you get a dark square in the middle of the two. Okay. So inside the dark, we need to paint an actual dark square where they cross over each other. So the dark thread is combining here, and creating a dark square, and then the light threads are combining here and creating a light square, and then these in-betweens are a combination of the light and dark thread. So they're halfway in between the two. So whatever color you use to make your tartan, if you're using two different colors, you get a mixture of the half. Yeah, so if it was like these were white, right? If this thread was white, this thread would be pink, and then this one would be red. So like you could combine different colors and create whatever kind of intermediate mixture of the two threads you want. And I'm just trying to get the rough pattern right now, and I can go back and clean up all these shapes later and I'll add some like stitching texture to it. But right for the moment, I'm just trying to get the positioning and geometry of all the little squares in. Go ahead and Hate these deep folds. And then back here, it kind of becomes a mess with the shape being super crazy. So I'm not as worried about nailing this. The only way you'd ever see it is if you looked at it like this. Okay, so something like that. Now I need my glasses. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mix a lighter shade of this green. Who dat? Dying Sun, hello, welcome. Okay. Mix a nice light shade of this with the skin tone. Okay. And then I'll try and zoom this in so you guys can really see what I'm doing here. All right, so inside these squares, I need this to be like nice and thin so I can really trace little lines. Okay, something like that. Now, I wouldn't recommend trying to do this on like a 75 millimeter figure, the like little stitching lines. Or even, you don't even have to try it on a bust if you don't want to. But if you can control the width of your brushstroke nice, it can create a nice little extra, something a little extra texture on top. Just gives it a little more depth and interest. And then like I'll take this green I'll do the same thing here to create an intermediate layer on top of the halfway one. It's a little too light at the moment, but I can always glaze back over top of it. I can also use these to just like try and clean up the shape a little. Make them a little more square. Come on, focus. Okay, something like that. And then the dark green, I want really nice, thick dark green. I'll even mix a little bit of this red into it just to give it some variation. And I can use these. Crisp up that shape. Oh, sorry, off camera, my bad. Okay, like that. Now, I gotta do that whole thing, but I'm gonna show you what I would do after. So using the red that we've got, I'm gonna take and I'm gonna paint a red line that runs down the center. Try and be even and consistent with that. So this one will go down the center of every light square vertical row. So skipping every row, every other row. Right, like that. And then same horizontally. Going through the light squared rows. Like such. I'll take the ivory. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of the sunny. Just to... Actually, I'm going to mix it with some of the pink. I'm going to grab some of the pink. So I'm going to make like a light, a real nice light pink. I'm going to even grab some of the blue. I'm trying to make like a off-white. I don't want a pure white. I'm going to save that pure white for a second. Okay. And then this one will go in the other row. Down the dark square rows. Like that. It's not that hard. This is just brush control and like, and if you're not used to it, just try like test on your finger first, right? And then it crosses over the center of the dark squares. It seems tough, but it's really not that hard. Right? Like that. And then anywhere that those white threads, those grayish ones cross, I'm going to put a little dot of like more bright white. Ta-da. Put a little on the edge. It seems tough. It's not. It's just practice painting thin lines. Thin, even lines. And that's how you do a tartan. I can also take some of the red. Really, I would need like a bright red to do this, but this will work fine. You'd really want like a really bright red, but you can put a little dot in the center of the red ones too. Again, it's that idea where the thread is like, that thread is crossing in and under all those, so it's like a half tone, right? And then whenever the two of the same color cross, you get a pure layer of that color. Does that make sense? Everyone knows how to paint a tartan now? You're all experts. Like I say, you could skip the you could skip this stage on smaller figures, right? Like, don't bother on a 75mm figure trying to paint the these lines. You pull your hair out. But if you want to get fancy on something bigger, you want to flex a little bit. Flex on them. So at the end, if it's like this is relatively flat, right? I would typically do like a pre-shade to get like a rough, and then use a little bit thinner layer, so some of that initial underlying volume works. If you want, before you do this final step with the final step being the white and red lines, or whatever yellow or whatever color lines you want to use. If you want, you can use glazes to like reinforce the volumes of the fabric. But one thing is that it's so noisy of a pattern that a lot of the like natural shadows and things kind of disappear anyways. But you can definitely use some glazes to darken certain areas if you want, before you do the little line step. And the more time you spend with it, like some of these shapes, like particularly back here, like I said, are pretty hard to reach. They're not going to be seen a whole lot, so I don't have to be as like crazy about trying to paint perfect squares and stuff. But these two main panels here, like these are this one and this one, I want those to be pretty clean. But you could see, like, you guys are looking at it way zoomed in. If I hold it back like this, right? You can do it. It's easy. Just take your time. Patience. It's a slow one. By the way, while I'm thinking about it, while I was at Adepticon, Artist Opus gave me some samples to try out, to review, and I have to say, so far, I haven't really put them through their paces for a whole project, but I bought the original set when they first came out. And I was a little disappointed with the quality control on the very first set of them, but I think the new ones are I guess they're on their like third generation of brushes now or something. Pretty good. Pretty good. They're pretty good. See how they hold up after a whole project, but not bad, Artist Opus. Your numbering is ridiculous and terrible, though, but I guess as long as you know that their numbering system is wonky, then that's fine. Because this is a 3. This is a 3. This is a 2 in DaVinci. And then let me see if I can find another one. That's a 3 in Winsor Newton. So they're like one number lower than they should be. Maybe even like, I'll say, yeah. So I just realized that any number that you're used to in like another brush, they're going to be smaller. So I feel like they're like 2 numbers smaller than like a Windsor, and maybe 1 number smaller than a Da Vinci. They seem to go by like almost like half steps. Like I said, as long as you know what number you like in another brush, so you're like, I like a number 2 in Series 7, just get a 3 or maybe even a 4. Do they say that anywhere on their website or anything? Like, hey, our brush sizes run small. I feel like that would be a smart thing to include. Lose everyone. Everybody fall asleep. You guys tired of watching me paint squares? I put everyone to sleep. I could start talking like a late night radio host, and I can get real low for you. Hey everyone, how you doing tonight? Tonight we're gonna paint some little squares. Be a late night jazz host. Think they trained to do that? There's no way that's like their normal talking voice. I'll walk into a gas station. Hey, can I get 20 on pump 10? All right, some of that's whatever. Like that. Here we'll get this like one square here. Just kind of darken that in. Try and clean up these shapes just a little bit. Okie dokie. All right, so make sure I do it the same as I did over here. Light, red goes in the light. Red goes in the light squares. No, I think we'll probably call it after I finish the tartan. Everyone's excited about the bread. I can't say I've ever painted a loaf of bread before. See, that was garbage. but it's at a weird angle. What a mess. Got all fat. Big old fat, big fat fatty line. I gotta clean it up. Guys can't even see what I'm doing because of these horns. Horns are getting in my way. That was bad too. See how thick that one line is at the top? That's okay. It's just paint, baby. It's just paint. We can fix it. Just come in and clean it up like that. No problem. What was the old, guys, I remember the old sketch of, it was like, supposed to be NPR or something on SNL, and there was the two ladies just talking about, like, gardening or something. I forget what it was like always a different subject or something. And it was just like the most, like, wow. Wow, that sounds amazing. They would just talk about like the most boring subject ever. Trying to remember what that sketch was. Oh, did you find one? I'll have to watch it later. What was it called though? Was it just called NPR? Delicious dish. That's right. I'm just gonna do that voice. I'm just gonna do the delicious dish voice and be like, we're just gonna make it real calm. Hey everyone. Lines. Like I said, consistency of paint is very, very important when doing these. You want to make sure you can trace that nice thin little line. If it's not coming off your brush well, maybe need a little more water. If it's running, it's too watery. Finding that middle ground between it being transparent and being able to trace a nice thin line. I believe in you, though. You add a little water. Make sure you might be using too small of a brush if you're having problems with the paint like drying out in the brush. Try using a bigger brush with like just a really nice sharp point. That way you can fill up the brush a little more. Parts like this suck, though, where you're trying to paint these shapes these lines at an awkward angle because you got another like element in the way. I didn't pick the easiest surface to do this on, is all I'm saying. But we will persevere. What's the fun if it isn't a challenge? Oh, that's disgusting. Look at that. That is so bad. So let me fix that. Well, that's the thing. This is a size 3. So, I mean, it depends on the company, like we were talking about earlier. The brush size can vary a lot from from brand to brand, so. What's important is that it's a brush you're comfortable with. Everyone has a little bit different taste. Obviously, some are strictly superior to others. I wouldn't be doing this with a Citadel detail brush. Yeah, I'm using Artist Opus right now. I was saying earlier, they gave me some to test out, and I am pleasantly surprised. I wouldn't say, well, surprised. I will admit I was a bit disappointed in the first set, like I said. But the new ones, these new ones seem much better. No worries. Yeah, AT Roger, you can glaze the shadows back in, or you could just, leave it, because honestly, it's like this whole shape here is kind of facing upwards. I would do any glazing before you paint these final lines. This is like something I would consider a last step, unless you have some of these lines in like really deep shadow that you need to adjust. This is the Series S. Yes, this is a size 3. They have what? Series S and Series D? Is there another one? They gave me some D. They gave me some Series D also. I can't say I do a lot of dry brushing, but if it comes up, I'll try them out. I'll give them a shot. Yeah, that was my experience also. I tried them literally when they first came out. The very first release, like after the Kickstarter, I got a set just to give them a fair shake. And like one of the four held up all right, but they were also like way too small. I think the original series only went up to a size 2 or something. I forget. The original release were like really tiny. Yes, I know they're on like their third version. They make, actually, I don't know. Not something I really even want to bring up now that I think about it. I was going to ask about chinchillas because a friend of mine had a pet chinchilla. Obviously, I know they make, or used to make coats out of them. But I don't know about brushes. Perhaps they're not stiff enough or something. All right. Tartan. This line sucks. I just noticed it. This line doesn't come all the way to the edge. It is not consistent. Boop. You know what? We'll add that one there. There we go. Very good. Okay. Tartan. Makes sense. Clear. Got it. Another little something. What we do, the handle, the hammer, and the tartan today. Oh, and we painted his hands, his arm. Cool. Well, guys, I think that's where I'm gonna call it. No, it wouldn't reflect in the helmet. The only way it would reflect in the helmet is if you were looking at the helmet like this. The helmet has no downward facing angles. It would need to face down. The bird would probably reflect in the helmet. The bird would be like right here. He'd be like, boop, right here. Cool. Well, thank you for hanging out. I hope you all have a great rest of your week.